Welcome to Unit 2, News Reporter, Session 2, Parts of a News Report. In this session, we will talk about parts of the news report in detail, so you have to listen and watch carefully. From Moist News Network, this is Jennifer Kubota. You can do this! Let's see the things you need to do in Session 2. As you can see, Session 2 has 90 minutes. There are 5 things you need to do. Number 1, read the parts of a news report in your booklet. Number 2, watch the second grade EI Unit 2 Parts of a News Report video. Number 3, watch and analyze New School Lunch News Report again. Number 4, watch the second grade EI Unit 2 School Lunch News Analysis 2 video. And number 5, answer the conceptual question. Once you've finished all these 5, you have to mark the box with a check mark. Okay, let's see. Where's the check mark? There you go. So I finished reading the parts of news report, so I marked check, then number 2, 3, 4, and 5. So once you finish checking all the boxes, then you are done with session 2. Before we start session 2 and watch the parts of a news report video, please try to read and understand the text by yourself. Please pause the video and read the text now for about 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, come back and we will read and understand the text together. Now, let's start session 2. The teacher instruction says, read and understand the following text about news report. Let's read the text twice or 2 times. First, let's try to read and understand the text. Let's use the blue marker for vocabulary words or for difficult words. Next, let's read again and find the important points. Let's use the pink marker to mark the important words. Okay, let's start. Parts of a news report. As you learned in the last activity, news reports have different parts. Do you remember the different parts of news report? Yes, very good. Yes, there is a headline or a title. What else? There is the writer's name and the place it was written, the time and date it was written. Good. There is also what, where, when, why, how, and the quote. Very good. Okay. Next. Each part has an important purpose. Purpose. Purpose is one of the related concepts. It means the reason why something is done. Okay? That helps to make the message of the report clear. Read about the parts of a news report and think about the samples that you have seen. Samples. The new keychain and the new school lunch are the samples. Okay? What is a news report like? Like any kind of communication, news reports have a very clear style. News reports are different in some important ways. First, news reports must be factual. Hmm, factual. Hmm, let's mark this. That means they must give a lot of facts. Oh, I see. Factual means that they must give a lot of facts. Let's underline this one. Okay. The most important information you show in a news story should be information about the facts of the story. Okay. To do that, you must be objective. Hmm. Objective. What's objective? Okay. Okay. Let's read. When you are objective, okay, another word, objective. You do not let your personal feelings change the way you tell the story. Ah, objective means this one. Okay? This is the feelings change the way of the story. Let's underline this. Okay. So personal. Do you remember this word? Personal? Yes, it means your own feelings or your private feeling. Okay? So let's mark it and let's write down the same word or the same meaning. It can be private or your own feelings. Next, it is important to answer the 5W1H questions in the news report. You can see these in the box to the right. Oh, yes, this 5W1H: who, what, when, where, why, how. This is connected to the first point. If you answer these questions directly, let's mark this. Then you are being factual. Okay. Another word, factual. The lead. Lead. I don't. That's quite difficult. Of the news story should answer the questions who, what, when, and where in a short and simple sentences. The second part should tell the listener how or why. Okay, let me check the dictionary for directly and lead. Okay, now let's see. Directly means straightly, answering the question straightly, or it can be exactly. Okay, straightly or exactly. Okay, and lead, according to the dictionary, lead means the start or the opening of the news story. Okay, let's put it here. Okay, let's continue. Here is another important point. In a news story, you must do your best to speak well. When we talk to our friends, it is okay to make simple mistakes or use slang. Slang. Let's mark this. However, news reports are more formal. Oh, I see. So slang is the opposite of formal. So slang means not formal. Okay, let's write it down. Not formal. Okay, that is why you should practice your report and use language well. In news report, the reporter should not speak in the first person. Mhm. First person. This is a grammar word. Okay, let's mark this down. The news reporter should speak in the third person. Mm. Let's mark this down as well. You can see some examples in the box to the right. To the right? There's no box to the right. It's in the left. To the left and not to the right. So let's change this to left. Okay. Left. Okay, so this is the first versus third. The man found a box of gold. So this is the third person. Okay. I saw a man find a box of gold. This is the first person. Let's check the dictionary. Okay. So I checked the dictionary and again I found that the first person means or equal to I, we, and us. These are all first person. Third person can be the man, he, she, and it. Okay, first person and third person. Okay. Okay, let's continue. Here is an example. Number one, the man found a box of gold. Okay, active voice. Let's mark this one. A box of gold was found by a man. Passive voice. Let's continue. In the first sentence, the man is more important than the gold. This is called active voice. Oh, another active voice. Okay. Active voice means that the person or thing doing the action or finding is the subject of the sentence. So another active voice here, let's mark it. And this is the meaning of active voice. So let's underline that. However, in the second sentence, the gold is more important than the man. This is called the passive voice. Passive voice, let's mark it. This one as well. Passive voice means that the person or thing that the action is done to is the subject of the sentence. I see. So the meaning of passive is this. Let's underline that. Here are more examples of the passive voice. Number one, all of the corn was eaten by insects. The building was damaged by the earthquake. Damaged and earthquake. And number three, the textbooks were given to the students. Okay. Let's check the word damage. Okay, let's check it. Okay, damage means another word for damage, similar word is destroyed. destroyed. Okay? And earthquake. What is earthquake? In easy words, earthquake means shaking of the ground. Yes, when the ground is shaking, that means there's an earthquake. Okay? Finally, news reports use a different kind of intonation. Do you remember the word intonation? Yes, it's the rise and fall of the voice when speaking. Listen to the sample news report and think about what is different about their intonation in the parts of the figure 1. Okay, this is figure 1. We have lead, catchy opening, what, who, what, when, where. I see. Content, why and how. Content 2, quote or interview. Content 3, interesting information. And sign off means how does the news end? Okay, now we have understood the text. Now let's go to finding. Let's find the important points of a news report. Next, let's read again and find the important points. Let's mark it with a pink marker. Okay, parts of a news report. As you learned in the last activity, news reports have different parts. Each part has an important purpose that helps to make the message of the report clear. Read about the parts of a news report and think about the samples that you have seen. What is a news report like? Like any kind of communication, news reports have a very clear style. I think this is important. Clear style. News reports are different in some important ways. Okay, what are those ways? First, news reports must be factual. This is important. That means they must give a lot of facts. The most important information that you show in a news story should be information about the facts of the story. To do that, you must be objective. When you are objective, you do not let your personal feelings change the way you tell the story. Next, it is important to answer the 5W1H questions in the news report. I think it is important too. You can see these in the box to the right. This is connected to the first point. If you answer these questions directly, then you are being factual. The lead of the news story should answer the questions who, what, when, and where in a short and simple sentences. The second part should tell the listener how or why. Here is another important point. In a news story, you must do your best to speak well. I think so too. This is important. When we talk to our friends, it is okay to make simple mistakes or use slang. However, news reports are more formal. That is why you should practice your report and use language well. In a news report, the reporter should not speak in the first person. The news reporter should speak in the third person. You can see some examples in the box to the left. Of course, it is important to show the listener what is important. I think so. Yes, it is important to show the listener what is important. Okay. The most important parts of the story should be in the subject of the sentences that you make. Subject, I see. So here is an example. The man found a box of gold. It's active voice. A box of gold was found by a man. It's passive voice. In the first sentence, the man is more important than the gold. This is called active voice. Active voice means that the person or thing doing the action or finding the action is the subject of the sentence. However, in the second sentence, the gold is more important than the man. This is called active voice. Passive voice. Passive voice means that the person or thing that the action is done to is the subject of the sentence. Here are more examples of the passive voice. Number 1, all of the corn was eaten by insects. Number 2, the building was damaged by the earthquake. Number 3, news textbooks were given to the students. Finally, news reports use a different kind of intonation. This is important. Listen to the sample news report and think about what is different about their intonation in the parts of the figure 1. So, again, we have lead, catchy opening, who, what, where, when. Content why and how. Content 2, quote or interview. Content 3, interesting information. And sign off, how does the news end? Okay. So now we have understood and we have highlighted the important parts of the text. So don't worry about active voice and passive voice. We will talk more about that in this next slides. Active voice and passive voice are quite difficult to understand. But don't worry, we will talk more about them here. Now let's take a look at this sentence. Moy's students study English inquiry. This is a usual sentence, right? So, in a usual sentence, there is always an action, which is here it's study. We also called action as verb in English grammar. Okay? Now, if there is an action, who does the action? In this sentence, who does the action? Yes, Moy's student. So Moy's students are the doer of the action. We also call this subject in English grammar. Now, English inquiry is what? Yes, it's the one who receives the action. Okay? We call this object in English grammar. So the doer of the action does the action to the receiver of the action. Or simply, we say the subject does the action to the object. Okay? So, what is voice in English grammar? It describes the connection between the action, the doer of the action, and the receiver of the action in a sentence. It also tells which is important in a sentence. In this sentence, Moy's students study English inquiry. Which is more important? Is it the doer of the action, which is the Moy students, or the receiver of the action, which is English inquiry? So the voice in English grammar tells us which is important in a sentence. Next, let's talk about active voice and passive voice in detail. First, active voice. Active voice means that the person or thing doing the action is the subject of the sentence. Let's take a look at the example. The man found a box of gold. Hmm. What is the action or the verb in the sentence? That's right. Found. Okay. What, who, or what is the doer of the action? Who found the gold? Yes, the man. So the man is the doer of the action. It's the subject. The subject is important in the sentence. That's why it's in the beginning of the sentence. Okay, what did the man find? Yes, a box of gold. Okay, so the box of gold is the receiver of the action found. So it is the object of the sentence. So in active voice, the person doing the action is the subject of the sentence. So the subject of the sentence is important in active voice. Okay? So the man is important in this sentence. Next, passive voice. Passive voice means that the person or thing that the action is done to is the subject of the sentence. Let's read this one more time. Person or thing that the action is done to is the subject of the sentence. Action is done to means receiving the action. Okay, receiving the action. Okay, let's take a look at the example. A box of gold was found by a man. Okay, what is the action or the verb in the sentence? That's right, was found. There are two action words here, two verbs. First is the be verb, was, and the past participle of the word find, which is found. Was found is the action of or the verb here. Now, who is the doer of the action? Oh, yes, it's the man, a man. So the doer of the action, but wait, the doer of the action, a man, is not in the beginning of the sentence. It's in the last part of the sentence. Okay? If you see here, the person or thing that the action is done to is the subject. So the man is not the subject here. So it's the object. Okay? The doer of the action now is an object here. It's the man. Okay, now, what is the subject then? Yes, the box of gold is the subject, and it is the receiver of the action. And last, by. By is important in passive voice. It knows that the man found a box of gold. Passive voice is formed sometimes by using the word by. Let's take a look closely at the examples. In active voice, the man found a box of gold. Here, the man is the doer of the action found. The man is the subject, which means that the man is more important than the box of gold. In passive voice, a box of gold was found by a man. Here, the box of gold is the thing that the action is done to or the receiver of the action found. The box of gold becomes the subject, which means that the box of gold is more important than the man. Now, let's learn how to form a passive voice sentence. In this active voice sentence, the insects ate all of the corn. In this sentence, the doer of the action or the subject are the insects. The action or the verb is ate, and the receiver of the action or the object is all of the corn. In the active voice, the insects is the subject, and they are the important part of the sentence. So how do we change it into passive voice? In passive voice, we studied that the receiver of the action becomes the subject. So what is the receiver of the action here in this sentence? Yes, it's all of the corn. In active voice, it is an object, but in passive voice, it becomes the subject. So all of the corn is the receiver of the action and it becomes the subject. How about the verb? The verb is be verb plus the past participle. So here, the verb is ate. What is the past participle of ate? Yes, it's eaten. Very good. So we add, because it's past tense here, we add was plus eaten. So it was eaten. Next. Now, the doer of the action here becomes the object, right? So what is the object here? Yes, the insects. The doer of the action becomes the object. And don't forget, something is missing here. Yes, the word by. Okay? The doer of the action is connected by the word by. Now, in active voice, the receiver of the action becomes the subject because it's the important part of the sentence. Did you understand the parts of a news report? Remember, when writing a news report, it is important to be factual, to answer 5W1H questions, to speak well, to show the listener what is important, and to make different intonation. Also, the other important parts of a news report are the lead, content 1, 2, and 3, and sign off. We will talk more about these in the next slide. Please continue working on the student booklet.